you can easily go to ChatGPT, Claude, pick your AI tool and you can ask it to do all these things and it'll generate something. The game changer for us with Church Copy was we needed something that understood the church and it understood I need some rhythm to what I'm doing.
This is the Missional Marketing Podcast, episode number 181. My name is Bart Blair, and it's my privilege to welcome you to another episode. Assuming this is another episode for you, maybe you're new to the show. And if you're new to the show, we are glad that you're here. We want to invite you to subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts or on the YouTube channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. We aim to drop an episode every Friday. But those of you who are our friends, fans, and followers know that we often fail at delivering content every Friday. That was a whole lot of F's. I did not intend all that alliteration, but sounded pretty good, didn't it? We've been a little sporadic for the last year or so, but hey, we're trekking towards our 200th episode. We've committed to hitting 200 episodes before the end of 2026. This is the 181st, so you can expect some more episodes coming up here in the upcoming weeks and months. So be sure that you subscribe. You can leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcast if you find this content helpful. But actually, the most valuable, the kindest thing that you could do for us if you are finding this content to be helpful is share it with someone else that you think might also benefit from it. Now, it's not going to surprise you that our conversation today is about artificial intelligence. I mean, it seems like pretty much everywhere you turn in the church landscape these days, people are talking about AI. We have been no different. We've talked a lot about AI over the course of the last couple of years, and we're going to talk a little bit more about AI today. In fact, I'm not part of the conversation that I'm going to share with you today. My colleague, Jason Hamrock, who is the CEO at Missional Marketing, conducted an interview recently with Brock Moreau, who is the founder of ChurchCopy.ai, and Michael Bowen, who is the comms director at Broadmoor Church. Now, many of you who are listening to this podcast, you are communications directors, or perhaps you have a role in your church where you're responsible for comms, website, social media, the newsletter, so on and so forth. You've got some hand in the communications in your church. I think you're going to find this conversation to be really, really helpful. Brock shares how he sort of landed on developing this tool called ChurchCopy.ai. And Michael shares with you how he's actually been using it in the context of his church and how it's been a game changer for writing copy for announcements, for social posts, and all the stuff that church comms people do. Really fascinating conversation. I think you'll really find it helpful. And again, if you do, please be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to share. We've been producing this podcast since the spring of 2020. We're coming up on, actually, no, we just surpassed 6 years. We just passed the 6-year mark. And we do this so that we can help churches grow by leveraging digital marketing and effective communications. And now I'll just throw in here, and artificial intelligence, because it's just a reality of the landscape that we're in. So if there's anything that we can do to help you at Missional Marketing or the Church Communications Group, please feel free to reach out to us. In the meantime, I hope that you enjoy this conversation between Jason Hamrock, Brock Moreau, and Michael Bowen.
Well, hey, Brock, Michael, I'm really excited to have you guys in the show today. And so thanks for taking some time out to talk to us about how you guys are really helping the church communication space. Michael, how you are using this tool that Brock's going to talk about affecting your church as a whole, but really affecting your communications department, making it more streamlined. So Brock, I'm going to start with you. Take a minute, because I don't know if many people know who you are. Introduce yourself, your background, your church background, and then tell us a little bit about Church Copy.
All right, I'll keep it short because it's pretty long. But hey, everybody, my name is Brock Moreau. I'm the founder of ChurchCopy.ai. So my background was in ministry. I mean, I was thinking about it even before jumping on this. Like, I've been in and around ministry since, 1998, which is really weird to say, like last century. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? So grew up in the church, and then after college went into ministry. So my wife and I, after we got married, we spent years traveling as missionaries, helping plant churches, working with different organizations. And then I actually ended up as the creative director at a church here in Orlando. And so I was their creative director for several years before moving on into the tech industry in 2018. And so I spent the subsequent years still volunteering at church, still leading worship, but just had some different plans for us. And then now we're back. We're taking everything that we learned in the tech space and are marrying it with our ministry background and just trying to serve churches and equip them to just have a greater impact in their community.
So How did Church Copy get started? Did you like hit your head on something one day and all of a sudden, boom, it popped in your head, or what?
Actually, so the long and short of that is last January. So there's a side project that's running congruent with everything. I'm working on a book right now that is taking the concept of journey mapping that I've learned in the tech space and applying it to churches. But last January, I was working on a lead magnet, and if you don't know what those are, you've probably fallen for them a few times. That's where you land on a website and they're like, give us your email address and we'll send you something. And I'm a marketer and I don't like those. And so I wanted to create something that added value, that felt custom. And so I just had this idea. I was like, well, what if I took a form and then I'll send it to Zapier, I'll write a prompt, I'll send it to ChatGPT at the time. We're integrated with Glue now, just to let you know. And then I'll send the ChatGPT response to the person that submitted the form via email. And so I did that, and then it worked, and I freaked out, and I was like, "Babe!" I yelled at my wife. I was like, "Hey, I think this is something." And literally the next day, it was one of those moments where we were like, "We shall call it Church Copy." Next day, I mean, I went fast. Next day, this was last January, LLC. We were patent pending in March. My wife and I sold our house to fund this in May. And so we just went all in. And so
You're all in.
it's crazy. Yeah. That's
All right,
a whole
well-
other story. So that's where the idea came from.
Okay, well, so Michael, what I want you to do, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, and then explain to the audience, what is Church Copy?
Sure. So I started in the church communications world really after working in a government entity right out of college, and then worked for a software company for a short stint, but always felt the calling to ministry. Didn't feel the call to preach, didn't really feel the call to necessarily be a teacher, but I really felt compelled to serve the church and to be surrendered to gospel ministry. And so wrestled with that after college, trying to figure out what that actually meant, and started out at this church as the media pastor, because at the time, all of that was really new in the church space. They didn't know what to call it. They didn't know what to do with it. They just knew they needed someone to like make the lights go on, make the sound come on, and make the videos roll. And so that was me for several years. And then as more and more technology got entered into the church space, they started saying, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? You seem like you have an aptitude for this, so let's do this. And it sort of just grew and grew and grew. And so I left Broadmoor probably, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a little longer, and went to serve at another church where I could do more communications, and really found a love for it. And then about 2 years ago or so, came back to Broadmoor in a similar role that I was serving in the other church, because they realized that they had sort of expanded and needed to expand the communication side. So now I solely focus on communications. We have a great team here. There are 5 team members that work underneath me, either in a contract role or in a full-time role. And we cover everything from emails and text messaging and app all the way to we manage our church management system here. We do all the data analytics and things like that. So that's sort of the new space that we're moving into. But as you guys know, data really drives what communications does. So it's important to have good data, and we're kind of learning how all that works together here. So that's a little bit about me. And I guess, Brock, I think after they sold their house, he was on the side of the road begging for food. And I drove up and I saw him and I was like, hey, what do you do? And he said, I have this software that you may be interested in. No, that's not how that happened. But
That's pretty close.
yeah. But we actually, I heard about ChurchCopy.ai, and I just reached out to Brock. I went on the website and I was like, hey, this looks like something we need. As many team members as I have, one of the things that we struggled with consistently was being able to get all the copy generated that we needed for all the different elements that we were putting together. I was handling a lot of that, but I didn't have time to do that and lead a team and work with other ministries and look out ahead for strategy and, all those other things. And so I was like, if I could find something that would help me write this copy, keep consistent brand, keep consistent with tone, so that everything that goes out sounds like it's coming from us, that would be perfect. And so I ran across this, the website, and signed up for it. And I was like, well, we'll try it out. It's another AI tool. There's like 1 million of them right now. And so we started working on it, and I realized this thing's a little different. Number one, it was built for churches, which everything else was kind of trying to, fit the square peg in the round hole kind of thing. Like, it almost did it, but then you'd have certain language that would come through and you'd be like, that doesn't sound like the church at all. And so it wasn't quite there, And so then as I started digging into Church Copy, I was like, okay, this actually wants to know what our missions are, what our mission is, what our values are, what's common language that we use. For Broadmoor, we call our church family our faith family. And that's something we use all throughout all the language that we have. In ChurchCopy.ai, there's a spot that you can put things like don't ever use and always use. And, you can put your values in there. You can put your mission statement in there. And so we started using it, had a couple of, I think, little, hey, I'm not quite sure how to do this. And so I shot an email to what looked like the support email address. And lo and behold, Brock emails me back. And I'm like, you're the owner. What are you doing? And so we start talking, and I learned that really this is kind of a passion of his. He's starting it up. We're sort of at the ground level of all of it. And so I told him, I was like, man, if you're into it, I'll just give you feedback from the ChurchCom side, if this is what you're wanting to build towards. Because, ChurchComs is an interesting animal. We're not corporate. And we're not really nonprofit either. We're kind of stuck somewhere in the middle. And so Brock was like, yeah. And that sort of led to a lot of conversations, a lot of emails. We ended up at a conference together and, kind of brainstormed for a couple hours of what it could look like. What are the pieces that, I'd love to see as we kind of move forward. And he's been a great partner to work with as we've used Church Copy.
So tell me, so you start using it. You've got a lot of, like, if I recall, you've used it a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if Michael knows this. We need to celebrate it because, well, one, Michael and Broadmoor, they were our first church that we didn't know to use Church Copy. So that's like, I was like,
it's a big win.
Like, okay, thank God. So somebody besides my friends, and then actually, I get a notification every day because they've generated so much content. They actually are our first user to pass 100 what we call copy packages. So they are so much content. It's awesome.
Yeah.
How has that? So, Brock, in a minute, I'll have you kind of explain just some of the features and details of it. But Michael, how has that really? First of all, it's probably saved you a ton of time.
Oh, sure.
But it's also got everybody cohesively on the same page when it comes to this. Talk to me about how that's affected the rest of the staff.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting thing is when we started using it, we really just used it kind of in-house, just on our team. And so I would write the copy, review it, make a couple of tweaks, send it over to our digital content coordinator or our creative production coordinator, and I'd say, okay, use this copy. So they would pull it up, they'd pull what they needed, whether it's social media posts or text messages or email copy or whatever. And they'd then generate those different delivery channels and do it that way. As Church Copy has evolved, what we've done is we've now started including the ministry areas. They have logins. We give them access to certain copy packages that are for their ministry. And we can even add the final graphics to that copy package. And so now they'll log in, they see all the copy packages for all of their events and all their promotions that they need. and they can pull any of it. We tell them, hey, use whatever you want to in that. It's all been approved. And if we have an error with a graphic or an error with, some piece of copy that we need to update, like they changed the room location or something like that, we can just go in, change that, regenerate it, pack it, and we can tell them, hey, log back in, and you can see it right there. So it's a game changer for us because we're not having to do a ton of back and forth anymore. And we have other systems in place that we use as far as our project management system, and we communicate via Teams within the church organization. And so we'll just simply send them a Teams message and say, hey, your copy package is ready to go. You can log in to Church Copy and grab it there. And like most ministries, they don't think about it or they don't want the information until they need it. And so if we can give them one spot where they know, hey, we can go here, we can get all the copy for social media, we can get all the copy for texting, we can get all the copy for newsletters, we can get all the copy for stage announcements. It'll do stage announcements for you as well. And so they know they can go to one spot, get all of that, plus they can get all the graphics that have been generated and approved in one location. It's really changed a lot of our workflow around here.
Wow. I wish I would have had that when I was a comm director.
Yeah.
Oh, the amount of energy you put into having to lead these ministries to say the right thing or don't say that. They totally say something wrong. Oh, it just brings back painful memories. So we'll move on. Okay, Brock, just kind of give our audience, they're probably going to their browser right now and just typing in ChurchCopy.ai, but just explain a little bit about what the tool, what's the features in the tool and what it can do.
Yeah, and actually you hit the nail on the head. It's the tool that I wish I had when I was creative director at our church. Even when we were at the church communications conference, and this is just a plug for that. You should totally be there in Kansas City this year if you're listening. We'll hang out. But I remember talking to so many comms directors. They're still wearing all of the same hats, right? It's not just communications for Sunday. It's kids ministry, and it's students, and it's young adults, and it's small groups, and it's special events, and it's outreaches. And when you start to add up all the communications that go into that, no wonder most churches are reactive because it's just we got to send out this message. Did we communicate that? And then I'm sure all of us on this call have been in that moment where you're like, I'm going to empower somebody to do this. And then you get it back and you're like, never mind.
Yourself.
I'm not
First and last time right there.
Or I remember, being in the creative director role and you have the rogue social media channels and you're like, who posted that? And so what we wanted to do with Church Copy was create a single source of truth for all of the communications for everything happening at a church. And so we tried to make it, and Michael, you were hitting on this. Sometimes when you try to work ahead, it's like, well, where are we going to save this? Is it in this Google Drive folder, or is it going to live in our project management task, or is it going to live in Teams or Slack? And oh, you know what? The pastor saw it and they sent me a text message, and then I have an email over here, and that just will stress anybody out. And so with Church Copy, what you do is, and Michael already alluded to it, you go in and you'll set up your account with your mission statement, vision statement, core values, statement of faith, and then your desired tone. And we actually prioritize that whenever we're generating copy because we said it from the beginning, we don't want this to sound like us, we want it to sound like you. And so when you fill out the copy package, the form to generate a copy package, and copy package, by the way, we actually would trademark that phrase, but it's just a bundle of words used to promote whatever is happening at your church. And so when you go to generate a copy package, you just give it a quick title, description, add the date. Michael hit on this too. You can actually assign it to a ministry area. So you can do custom ministry areas. And then if you're multi-site, you can assign that copy package to a location. And so when you hit generate, it'll generate. Now we're at 38 pieces of shareable content. So it's Facebook, Instagram, and X. It's emails, it's text messages, it's a newsletter blurb, it's a description for your website, it's stage announcements. And it's not just random, it's actually all mapped to a journey. And so coming back to the journey mapping for churches, everything in here starts with initial announcement and ends with a post-event follow-up. And the goal wasn't to say, hey, use all of this, but every event has different needs, has different requirements. And so we wanted to say, hey, here's a platter. Actually, a lot of the things in Church Copy are from Broadmoor. They were the first ones in, so they got to influence a lot of it. So like multi-user or status tracking and asset management was a really big one, where now your assets and your images and your videos live alongside all of the content that was generated. And so it's easy to sit down and actually knock out the next 3, 6, 9 months of events, because a lot of the things that we do in the church world are cyclical. They are on repeat. But now every time you generate content, every ministry sounds the same. It sounds like your church. You can give your ministry leaders access to generate content for their ministry area. So now you're sharing the load, but it's all going to sound like you. And so that's what we have some cool things coming, but that's the core of Church Copy right now.
Well, you said something that just caught my attention. That is, what I love about this type of software is it'll get smarter, more efficient, the more you use it, and the more churches that use it, that you get that feedback to make it a better product. And so I'm sure, Michael, you have probably seen that since you've been using this over the course of the year. You've probably seen Brock adding these features into making Church Copy better. How have you witnessed that? And then, how is it really affecting you guys?
Yeah. The interesting thing is, we were at another conference. I don't know. I guess it was last summer maybe. And Brock said, "Hey, do you have just a little bit of time?" I was like, "Sure." So I think I like skipped out on a breakout session or something like that. And we found an empty room, and we just started kind of brainstorming. And he just listened. He was like, if you could do this, like how would that look, or what would this look like? And really all I shared with him was what our workflows were. It wasn't revolutionary. It wasn't, life-changing by any stretch of the imagination, but to listen to Brock, like, ask the questions as a guy who used to be a creative director. So we're sort of speaking the same language. He understands, but he's also thinking on the technology side, like how quickly can we get this thing set up, And so I guess we probably spent an hour or two in there, and he was like, "This is great. Let me see what we can do here." And I want to say it was probably, I think the first thing was just organizing it via ministry area. Might have been the first one. And I said, it'd be great if you could like color code them so that you actually could look at it pretty quickly and figure out who was, what was next gen and what was adult discipleship and what was worship. And it may have been 2 weeks, Brock. I think you shot me an email and you were like, "Hey, I think we got the color code thing worked out, and I think we've got it broken out by ministry." And I said, "That's awesome. It'd be great if I could actually name them by like the ministries that I actually use here," because he had like a generic, set of ministry names. He was like, "All right, cool. I'm working on that." And I don't know, maybe it was a couple of weeks later, he was like, "Okay, I think we figured out the name thing as well." And so it's really great to have a partner that listens to what you're doing and understands where you're trying to go, and then is making these changes. It felt almost like real time, yeah, we can do this, or yeah, we can do that. Knowing that the stronger the product gets, the more people are interested in being a part of it. Because I don't know about the audience, but I don't have time to go through digging one more software tool, one more, thing that's going to help change my ministry or do anything like that. I got to get projects in, and I got to get them out the door, and ministries are waiting on them. And lo and behold, there's always going to be like that one ministry that comes in the 11th hour and they're like, "Hey, we said we were going to have it here, but we actually decided yesterday we're going to change it to here, or we changed the time or whatever." And of course, part of our role as communications in a church is to support those other ministries. And so, most everybody that I know that works in this field wants to help make the win happen, for whatever ministry it is. And so when those things happen, you want to be able to pivot quickly and get things to them as fast as you can. And this product for us has helped us do that where it's nothing more than hold on, give me a couple of minutes. I'm going to update it here. I'll regenerate the copy package. All right, you should be good to go. Everything's there for you. So that's helped a lot. The other game changer for us was being able to add graphics to the package. So now our art director can finish the artwork. I can approve it, and then our content person can upload it right into Church Copy. It's there. There's no question about, is this the most recent graphic? Is this the correct graphic? I always tell the rest of the staff, I'm like, if it's in Church Copy, it's the right one. And if it's wrong, it's on us. It's not on you, So it's really helped streamline that workflow a lot.
You saying that, it totally reminds me of my days as a comm director. And I always saw the organization as my clients. And I had certain clients, my lead pastor, number one client, right? But I had a pecking order, but I saw them as clients. And the other thing I always was trying to do was create a raving fan. I didn't want communications because I failed a lot, and I just would learn from that failure. And I learned that I want to try and serve them the best that I possibly can and create a raving fan. I want them to go, man, our comms director or comms department, they're for us. They want us to help us win. And that's true. We're not a service operations. We're a ministry. We want to help our church win. And so when I'm in my staff, we're working on reading some books, and we're going to be reading the book, Raving Fan. And it's a great book if you've ever read that book. But creating that raving fan is so important. I think this kind of tool does that, where it allows you to quickly get answers to changes, because it happens all the time. And it's so frustrating when they come into the last hour and go, by the way, we made these adjustments. It's just a reality of the job that we're in. And sometimes the ministry isn't the fault. Usually it's somebody above that made a change, and so they had to pivot and all that. We get all that. But for you as a comms director to be able to have this kind of a tool that's going to help your ministries win, you're going to look good. They're going to be a raving fan of you and your department. And I tell you what, the other thing I think that you kind of hit on is sometimes I just don't have the energy. I'm like, I'm out of it. Thank goodness for AI.
Man, I'll tell you what, writing copy for me, I love to do it when I'm in the headspace to do it. But when I'm not in the headspace to write copy, it is like the toughest slog to get through, because I want to give it my best, because I understand it's really the tool that a lot of people use to decide, am I going to engage with this? Am I not going to engage with this? And so I want to give it my best, but there are days that, the person comes in and they need this, or you have to go over here and take care of this, or someone decided they wanted to do something completely different from what your guidelines are, and you have to go take care of that. Mentally, you just don't have the space to be able to do those things. The beauty with this product is that I can have it generated. It's learning our language. It's learning the nuance of how we say what we say. And I can function more as an editor than as the originator of the copy. And for me, editing is a whole lot easier than generating the creative juices to be able to get the original artwork done, if you will. And so it helps me, because I can knock out a lot more copy in a day if I'm editing the copy than if I'm having to come up with it from scratch. Yeah, exactly. And the great thing has been my team has, as they have used it, they've gotten more comfortable with it. So it's not uncommon for them to come to me and be like, hey, do you just want me to put that copy package together? And I'll be like, sure. And I have confidence that it's going to be consistent. And one thing, Brock, mentioned the quick AI generator that y'all have in that product for like the one-off things where you don't have to do a whole package, because that's saved our bacon a lot of times when we just needed to like create something really quickly, and we were like, we don't need a full package. We just need like a blurb,
Yeah. So actually, there are a couple other things built into it. One is just a quick chat with AI, and it's not It doesn't save conversations. It's not like ChatGPT. It's directly linked to your mission, vision, statement of faith, core values, desired tone. So you can go in and say, hey, I need a quick text for this, or I need 10 ideas for a student night, or whatever your prompt is. And so you can actually use it to generate ideas. And then we also have a newsletter generator that also will take all of your newsletter blurbs from all of your content and aggregate it into a newsletter based on the ministry area or location that you select. But Michael, you hit it. You hit on something that I talked to somebody else about this last week, actually. And what they were saying that they enjoyed about Church Copy was that it wasn't the back and forth that you get with typical AI conversations, right? Where it's like, well, no, change this. Well, actually give me an idea for this and actually go create this many things. When we started, we were probably a little bit more prescriptive, as Michael was alluding to. Like, it was pretty locked in. But then as we've been working with Michael and other churches, we've kind of taken some of the parameters off as far as custom ministry areas instead of preset, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we wanted to give you a head start and get you to like a B+, and then you can take it over the finish line. So I'm glad that you're using it that way. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's I can say probably, I'm thinking of all the different software products we've used for all the different things that we do. It's probably one of the top 1 or 2 pieces of software that we've used that has really changed how we do what we do. And I mean, I shouldn't say this in front of Brock. I'd pay a lot more for the product than what they are offering it for, just because of how it has changed how we operate. It has empowered ministries to be able to do some things that, it's interesting. I think when a lot of people come out of seminary or Bible college or any sort of training to be a minister, I think they come out with the idea that I'm gonna be a one-man band, because a lot of them are. I mean, they come out and they've got to be the comms person, they got to be the preacher, they've got to be the worship pastor, they've got to be the janitor, they got to do the whole deal. And so for those people that are in churches that have multiple staff positions, I think sometimes it gets difficult to let go of some areas to let other parts of the church handle it. And sometimes with comms, I think that's where the friction normally comes. It's not that they don't trust communications team. It's that they're just used to, I mean, even from like seminary and Bible training, they're used to having to do it all. And so sometimes giving that away is a difficult thing to do. With certain products, and I think Church Copy is one of those, they feel empowered to do those things, but as the comms team, we still have a finger on it to help them do it well, if that makes sense. And so it doesn't feel like it's the student pastor going rogue here, or, the women's minister that's doing something crazy. Like it feels like the church. It feels like what you're trying to create from the comm side of a unified front, if you will, regardless of the ministry. And the ministers feel empowered in the process, which I think is just as important.
Well said. Brock, what are some things that you guys are working on? You kind of mentioned we got some cool stuff coming out. Just a few nuggets, just to kind of tease.
Yeah.
What's coming up next?
Okay, so a couple things, and we're going as fast as we can. And I think by the time we get this out, we should be close. We want some new ones, new features launched by the Orlando Roadshow,
which is in a few weeks. We're in the middle of February.
We're working. And so, right now we build all of our copy packages based on events and initiatives. And so we've had a lot of requests. And honestly, one of the things that I wish I had when I was at our church, back in the day, was and this isn't new, but we are building like a sermon recap copy package. And so being able to actually, we're parsing through what that is going to look like. And we have some prototypes built out, but just being able to resource churches. Because I remember when I was a creative director sitting in that role, it was like, I want to take what our pastor just said, but I don't have time to write a blog post or extra text, or what am I putting on the social media graphic? And so we're doing that. And then don't steal this, anybody, if you're leaving or if you're listening. We're actually going to be building one-click connection campaigns. And so I'm actually pre-building what a plan your visit nurture sequence would look like, or a guest to member, or join a group, or join a team, or there's a couple other ones out there. So we're going to pre-build the emails and text messages and everything that would go into that. So after you put in your church's information, you'll go to the connection campaign section and just hit generate, and it'll generate all of them for you. So you're going to go from 0 to a lot pretty quick. And then and we have a ton of ideas, right? The other thing that we're getting ready to add to our copy packages is like a one-click generate for Google ad campaign copy, Meta campaign copy, AEO, like FAQ type stuff, additional blogs, volunteer recruitment. So you'll be able to add that into a copy package based on whether or not that event needs it. And then we're working on a media asset library. Right now, you add all of your assets and your graphics images to the copy package. We're going to build a way to aggregate all of it so you can see the entire library of content that you've added. But there's a catch with that. We won't, as of right now, we're not going to let people upload graphics to the media library. Everything needs to be organized. So it needs to go through a copy package so you're not getting all the rogue stuff added. So we're still trying to stay true to easy, single source of truth. Our goal, like in software, the goal is to build sticky software. Our goal at ChurchCopy is like, hey, if you're spending a couple hours in this every week, then I failed you. Like you need to, there's other strategic things to be working on, ministry that needs to be done. And so those are some of the things we're working on. So we're going.
And you're going to have those next week, right, Brock? Is that's the plan, right?
Actually, he's going to have in about 2 weeks special pricing just for you, Michael.
That's so funny. Yeah. I would love to. Actually, that same conference we were at, Michael, I remember there was another gentleman in the breakout. He was like, "Can it do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I messaged our dev team at lunch that day, and then 7 days later, we had that feature built out.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Honestly, I remember working for our church, but things have changed. Tech has changed. The software has changed. Processes have changed. Processes, and so we're not trying to build some piece of prescriptive software and say, "Hey, use this how we're building it." Like we're really trying to build this with churches in the way that you all are using them. And so, Michael, your feedback is extremely valued, and we take it seriously. And I'm also just super, super humbled by everything that you've shared on this call. Seriously, my day.
I think. Well, I appreciate that. One of the things that I would probably say, sort of, as I'm assuming as we're kind of getting close to wrapping up here, is, you can easily go to ChatGPT, Claude, pick your AI tool, and you can ask it to do all these things, and it'll generate something, because we used to do that. The game changer for us with ChurchCopy was, we needed something that understood the church, and it understood I need some rhythm to what I'm doing. So, and I know you can build templates within different AI tools and things like that. I struggled to get good copy from those other places consistently. Like I could do it for one event or one promotion, but it would not sound consistent. And I found myself, to Brock's point, spending a ton of time trying to take any sort of AI tool and make it do what I needed it to do fast. And if you're spending a lot of time with the AI tool to make it do something to save you time, you're not actually saving time. You're just burning time and burning energy in another direction. And that, to me, has been the difference between ChurchCopy and all the other ones, because it's like any AI tool. It's going to take a little bit of time to learn you, learn your ministry, learn your rhythm, learn how you do what you do. But I can almost guarantee you, once you give it that little bit of time, it is going to save you a ton of time and make you way more productive as a comms person.
Yeah.
Actually, Michael, thank you for saying that. You hit on something there that we talked to, I'm drawing a blank, really wonderful couple that are pastors at a church. I think it's the Bridge Church in Virginia. Oh my gosh. I think that's that. That's where they're at. They had talked to us about when they signed on with Church Copy, their big thing was like, hey, we have a lot of different staff using different AI tools. And so we're getting different types of copy, different levels of copy from different people. And so they just wanted, again, one place for everybody to generate copy from. And so it's one place for all your team to go in and share an account. And so it's also way cheaper than that many ChatGPT accounts.
I wasn't going to say that, but now that you said it, yes.
Well, guys, thanks for sharing and just talking about how ChurchCopy.ai has really helped you, Michael, and your team and your church. And Brock, thanks for creating this for the Big C Church. I know your heart is in ministry and your heart is to save time, but not just save time, but actually have a better, effective, brand voice that's out there. And so I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on the show. And we'll look forward to what you have to roll out here in the next stretch of road, Brock. But appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank y'all.